everyone, my name is Haley and welcome back or welcome to my channel. Long time no see. I am so sorry about that. I really didn't want to wait this long to make a new video, but the holiday season was really busy for me. I was out of town the last week of December, and then January 2nd I started a new job, and that has just been occupying all of my brain capacity. Like, I didn't even read a book until January 25th. So I just was not in the headspace to be focused on anything else except trying to learn the ropes of my new job and making sure I am getting the hang of everything. But I feel like now things have finally calmed down. It's been about a month, but I finally feel like my brain isn't scrambled and I can focus on things other than work. So that is why it took me so long, but I am really excited to be back and I hope you guys enjoy this video. So as you can tell from the title, I'm going to be talking about all of the 5-star reads that I had in 2023. I wanted to do a 2023 reading wrap-up, but I read 55 books in 2023, and talking about them and editing a video with that much information, my brain was not in the right place, so I just decided to narrow it down to my 5-star reads because it is definitely not 55 books. I have most of them physically, and the other ones that I don't have I will put a picture up here somewhere as I always do, but without further ado, let's just get into it. And these are not going to be in any particular order that I read them in. I'm just grabbing from my pile. So first we have Blood and Steel, The Legends of Thesmar, Book 1 by Helen Scher. This is actually a Kindle Unlimited book, and I think one of the first romanticises I've given 5 stars from Kindle Unlimited. I absolutely love this book. I'm still reading the second one, but I flew through this. It was so good. It is about this girl named Althea, and she has this thing called a fate stone, and it has her age on it. I think it's like 27 or something, and that is the age that she is going to die. And in this world, women cannot be soldiers anymore because a prophecy had come true that child soldier had like killed a bunch of people because she touched a weapon made of steel. So they said no more women can be soldiers or else you're gonna kill everyone, as the prophecy says. And so Althea only wants to be a soldier, so she trains in secret. She eventually gets the okay to become a trainee, and there's like an initiation test that you have to pass in order to become a champion of Thesmar. But obviously there's a lot of stuff that happens. It's not just the trials that you have to pass, which is one of my favorite things in books, is trials that characters have to go through against other characters, but just like the character development, the side characters, the romance, the world, it's just so good. Like, it doesn't feel like it shouldn't be long. Like, I think everything that's in there should be in there, and I just love it so much. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything, but if you are looking for a Kindle Unlimited romantasy rec, this is the one on the top of my list. Okay, and then next we have Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. This is a fantasy book, and I don't know if it is actually based like in D&D worlds with D&D characters or if it's just heavily inspired by it. I've played D&D, but I'm not too familiar with like what universe this book is set in if it's not just like a regular fantasy world. But it follows our main character named Viv. She was, I guess, a monster hunter, monster slayer. She went around these different dungeons collecting treasure and slaying monsters for years, but she had come to realize that she doesn't want to do that anymore. She just wants to settle down, open a coffee shop, and live a slow life. And so in the city that she chooses to open a coffee shop, there is no coffee there. No one's ever heard of it or had it, so it is kind of hard for her to get a start, but you get to meet everyone in the community. You get to meet the people that she employs, and the people from her past come back, and something that shouldn't be hard is very hard for Viv, and that is starting a coffee shop. Not hard in the sense of like getting started, but like a lot of outside influences should not make it hard, but she keeps having run-ins with people and things, and it kind of just halts her from really getting what she wants. This was just so cozy. It is a cozy fantasy. It's so cozy. There is a little bit of a sapphic romance, which I loved. You just love all of the characters. You get to see Viv's character development, and the baker in this is like my favorite character ever. There's a really big found family aspect, and I just love it so much. It makes me want to play D&D again, but I'll play Baldur's Gate to suffice. I didn't know if I would enjoy cozy fantasy, but this was just amazing. I flew through it. and I highly recommend. Next we have Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I love this book, as you can tell. I think Ali Hazelwood is like an auto 5-star author for me. I've never given her books anything less than 5 stars, and I just know I'm gonna love them every time, so this was not a surprise to me. This one was about Elsie, and she is a theoretical physicist, and the love interest is named Jack. He is an experimental physicist, and she doesn't like him because he ruined her mentor's career, and she still works with her mentor. She looks up to him immensely, and so that is like the cause of their issues together. And he also rules over the physics department, and she wants to work in the physics department at MIT, so again, he's kind of standing in the way of her dreams, and that causes some tension between them as well. I love anything Ali Hazelwood. Like I said, I love the way she writes. I love the characters that she writes. I love that I'm like learning while I'm reading this, like about physics. Not really learning a lot, but some interesting things, and I just love them together so much. Like, I don't even know what else to say. I just think if you like rom-coms and you want to find one where like the main guy gives like black cat and golden retriever energy, I don't really know how that works, but like golden retriever physically but black cat emotionally, if any of that makes sense, and just like a really fun and sassy main character. I just love them so much, and I will always recommend an Ali Hazelwood book. And then next we have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Give this video a thumbs up if you're tired of me talking about this book. This is Leigh Bardugo's adult fantasy series, and this follows our main character named Alex. She can see ghosts, and she is recruited by the Dean of Yale to join their secret society to keep tabs on the other secret societies and make sure that they are not using magic in a way they are not supposed to. That is just a very bare bones explanation of this book. Obviously, it's not everything that happens, but we get to see Alex, who was a drug addict, come from, you know, not really living a glamorous life to coming to Yale and having people rely on her and learn more about herself and what she can do in the span of the months that she's there. There are some things that happen that get her into trouble and require her and her other society members to do things that might not be in the rules of the society, but sometimes breaking the rules is necessary, and the end of this book just like broke my heart. And I'm currently reading the sequel, Hellbent, and that's probably gonna be 5 stars as well. But if you are looking for dark academia that's set in like a real world setting with magical elements in it and an unreliable main character, honestly, but also someone that you are really rooting for and just want to see come out on top, I would definitely recommend this. It's so good. I just love it so much, and I'm also always gonna recommend it. And then we have Dune by Frank Herbert. As you can tell, I definitely took a lot of notes when I was reading this. I had actually read part 1 and part 2 before the movie came out, and then it took me probably like a year to pick this back up and finish part 3. Not because I didn't like it, but it's really hard to immerse yourself back into this reading experience after you've taken such a long break. Dune is just like an expansive universe, and there's a lot of stuff that happens, and that's not a negative. I think that's a positive. I gave it 5 stars, obviously. So Dune follows Paul Atreides, and he is the son of a man who was a ruler on a different planet. His father dies, and now they are on Arrakis, which is like the sand planet that has spice, which is like a drug, and him and his mother are trying to figure out how to not get killed. I don't even know if that's the best way to explain it, but it's like so much more than that. That's kind of just the thing that propels the story. So it's not only about him and his mom trying to figure out how to go on without his father and with like space diplomats kind of targeting them, but also how to live on Arrakis with this other group of people. There's so much that happens, and that's literally just the first book, but it's so good. I love it so much, and I really want to read the rest of the series, but it's a big commitment, so I have not started yet. But if you have been hesitant to read it, this is your sign. This video right here is your sign to start it. And make sure you get the copy with the appendix in the back, because it has like a glossary. So highly recommend. Okay, the last physical book that I have is The Blood Trials by Annie Davenport, and I want to say that this was my first read of 2023. Since I read this one so long ago, let me just read the synopsis for you. Blending fantasy and science fiction, Annie Davenport's fast-paced, action-packed debut kicks off a duology of loyalty and rebellion in which a young black woman must survive deadly trials in a racist and misogynistic society to become an elite warrior. There are definitely some characters in here that you just absolutely hate, but then it's also showing how people can change. I don't know, I really enjoy when fantasy or science fiction books teach you real world lessons, because I think it's much easier for people to listen that way instead of like giving them a nonfiction book about things they need to know. So I really admire when authors put that in their books and teach you a lesson and just show you different point of views and different perspectives and just what it's like to experience different things. So I really loved that about this book, and I still need to read the sequel, which is the last one. It's a duology, but I don't really hear many people talk about this. So if you enjoy trials and people trying to kill each other to become part of an army, and like also internal conflicts and external conflicts, I would definitely recommend this book. Okay, so the rest are going to be non-physical copies. I have Below Zero by Ali Hazelwood, and that was the collection of novellas that she wrote. 3 different novellas, and it's following 3 different friends and their own love stories. They're all scientists as well. I honestly can't even remember what a lot of them were about at this point, because they were short and I read them a long time ago. But if you're looking for a short rom-com and you like Ali Hazelwood's writing, I would definitely recommend. And then we have The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. I listened to this book on audio. It was such a heartbreaking story, but I think definitely really necessary for people to read. So the little blurb says, 1970s Afghanistan, 12-year-old Amir is desperate to win the local kite fighting tournament, and his loyal friend Hassan promises to help him. But neither of the boys can foresee what would happen to Hassan that afternoon, an event that is to shatter their lives. After the Russians invade and the family is forced to flee to America, Amir realizes that one day he must return to an Afghanistan under Taliban rule to find the one thing that his new world cannot grant him: redemption. So it's just a truly heartbreaking story about family and friendship and loss and grief over a place that you have no choice but to leave, and it never being the same again, and how that can really scar a family and generational trauma and things that are really difficult to experience and talk about. I love this book so much, and I highly recommend it. I recommend all of these books, but this one is extremely important for people to read. And then we have Heartless by Elsie Silver. This is the Chestnut Spring series. I think this is the only one I gave 5 stars. So it follows Cade, the oldest Eaton brother, and Willa, who is the best friend of the girl in the first book. It's age gap, single dad romance. She becomes the nanny for his son, and they live on the same premises, I believe. Super grumpy main character, and she's like really sassy and doesn't give a shit about anything. Not like serious things, but like she's a free spirit type of person, and so you can see how they would clash, but not for long, I guess. I really enjoyed this. I loved Cade's character. I loved Willa's character. I don't usually enjoy kids in books, but I didn't mind the child in this one. So if you don't want to commit to the whole series, I would just recommend reading Heartless. It was so good. Next we have Night Shift by Annie Crown. I think I read this on Kindle Unlimited as well. It's just a sports romance about 2 kids in college. One of them is a basketball player and another one works the night shift at the library. It wasn't really anything I've never read before, but it was just written well, and I really enjoyed the banter between the 2 main characters and the progression of the story. It was also relatively short. I read it really quickly, so if you're looking for something short and sweet, that's like the definition of this book, I think this would be a good fit for you. And then the last one that I have on here is called The Fake Out, and that was by Stephanie Archer. This is a hockey romance. It's the Vancouver Storm series. This is the most recent one. It follows the sister of the main girl in the first book and the ex-best friend of the main guy in the first book. Rory is the ex-best friend of the guy in the first book, and Hazel is the sister of the girl in the first book. Rory and Hazel went to high school together. She used to tutor him, but she had a different boyfriend at the time who also played hockey, and he traumatized her and messed her up. And so ever since then, she had sworn off hockey players, but Rory's not gonna back down from a challenge. Not that she's a challenge, but you know, he has some sort of feelings for her, so he wants to get to know her more, but she is not having any of it. So it was not really enemies to lovers, but it's fake dating. I forgot it's fake dating because Hazel's ex-boyfriend actually gets traded to the hockey team that she is a physical therapist for, and that's the team that Rory plays for. So they concoct a plan to fake date so that Hazel's ex-boyfriend can stop like harassing her and pretending like they're gonna get back together. So that is how they start to get closer, and I love a good fake dating scheme. I love a good slight enemies to lovers. Full enemies to lovers is my favorite, but any capacity, I love it so much. And I just love when a guy is so into a girl. So Rory is definitely like head over heels for Hazel, and it's just so cute, and I love watching them get together. And if you like sports romance, I would definitely recommend the Vancouver Storm series. It's so good, it's still going, and I don't know, I just think they're really cute. Those were all of the books that I gave 5 stars in 2023. I feel like out of 55 books, that was how many? So out of the 55 books, 20% were 5 stars, which, because I gave 11 books 5 stars. I feel like that's not a bad statistic, not a bad ratio. I would definitely like to read more 5-star books. I do give a lot of 4 stars, so maybe I'll do a whole separate video on that. If you're interested, I can go into what makes something a 5-star versus a 4-star or even a 4.5. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I wanted to share all of the gems that I found / read last year, and let me know if you've read any of them or if this video is inspiring you to read any of them. My goal for this year is to give a thriller 5 stars because I'm trying to read more thrillers. I love listening to them on audio, but I haven't given any 5 stars yet. Like I read one already this year and it was not a 5-star. So I really want to find one that would be a 5-star, so drop some thriller recommendations down below, thriller or mystery, and hopefully we can get a 5-star out of it. But let me know what books you gave 5 stars last year, if any of these have been 5-star reads for you. Let me know what kind of videos you'd like to see from me next time. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. I hope you are all staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!